welcome to the Picard Season 3, Episode 6 review. I'm in Luxor, Egypt on my travels, and thanks for tuning in.
Firstly, I gotta say, wow, what a brilliant experience that was. As a Star Trek, geek or whatever, fan, nerd, Next Generation fan, of course, you were just given a plethora of just lore, of callbacks, Easter eggs, references. It was jam packed. It was kind of a super busy episode. Every scene was like fast paced and something was doing and moving the story forward. Um, lots of references, obviously. By far my favorite episode. I was smiling the whole way through. It felt like a movie. It felt like a 2-hour movie. It felt like you're watching like a Next Generation movie or like a double episode of the Next Generation, and the stuff from every generation of Star Trek and every iteration. And yeah, it just made you felt the urgency of the story and you felt stakes. And I loved it. And, it was like, here's obviously Picard stuff, and you want some data. Okay. And you can have some Deanna Troy, and you want some stuff with Riker. Oh, and here's some original series stuff. And here's some stuff about the Enterprise. And here's some stuff about, changelings. And here's some stuff about Moriarty. Oh, like it's just endless. You can really feel that it's made by people who absolutely are in love with Star Trek and have studied it and know it like the back of their hand and respecting the lore. I thoroughly liked it. I couldn't believe how good they did. I can't see them topping this episode. That's how good it was. But anyway, I'm going to do a quick review. Let's get straight to it. So the episode opens up with 3 ships warping to what we think is a Titan, but it's not. It's, of course, a strike. And Vadik is explaining that she wants all known kind of loved ones and associates of Picard to be tracked down because they can't find the Titan. So it's just a very scheming and low way in how to kind of get Picard and Jack, I guess. Not many negatives on this episode. Is pretty awesome, but one of the negatives is definitely Vadik. I think she's getting a little repetitive now, a little tiring. She seems like an absolute generic villain that just comes out of nowhere, starts cackling, and says, "I'm going to get you," and then they manage to get away, and then she kind of comes back again in the next episode. I don't really feel too much of a threat when she's there. I don't really get what she's doing. It's getting a bit long, drawn out. I just kind of really want that to hurry up, and just her as a character, she's a little too cliche for me. And after we get obviously the Picard credits, we get a scene in sickbay where Beverly Crusher tells Picard that Jack has inherited some kind of syndrome from him that I think he must have had in season 1 or 2. I wasn't familiar with. Jack's having a sit down with Picard in the holodeck. 709 informs Picard that Raffi and Worf have arrived. Because I was wondering this last episode, like how long is it going to take them to come to the Titan and to catch up with the rest of the Next Generation crew? And they did it within like 5 minutes. Let's go. There's urgency in this episode. I loved it. And of course, a nice little reunion. Great banter. Worf is really funny in this season. I know he is in the other iterations as well, but he just genuinely is funny. And commenting on Chateau wine and everything. And we get a much needed exposition scene when they're kind of in the conference room and they're all kind of explaining or catching up their kind of plot lines together to see where we are with the story at this point. So we see kind of Worf summarizes that Starfleet created a virus in order to kind of stop or take down the changelings, and the changelings have been preparing for something else bigger for Frontier Day, and the whole issue with the recruitment center, and that was a distraction for something that they stole or that they have on Daystrom Station that they need to kind of go and find out what else has been stolen. So up until this point, like we already know all this, as the audience. They've been talking about this kind of over the last 3 episodes, Worf separately, and then particularly Worf and Raffi be going over the Daystrom stuff and the Starfleet Academy stuff and the whole underground gangster stuff. Over the last 3 episodes, we already know all that. Titan's in big trouble. There's 2 starships that have found them, and the Titan have to explain to the away team, like, listen, we need to get out of here. We'll come pick you up later. And they shoot off. And Raffi is so much more likable, in the last couple of episodes. As soon as kind of her introduction with Worf, and I really liked kind of her being the referee in between Riker and Worf. They're catching up. They're old friends. They're trying to have a bit of banter. Worf's a lot mature now. And at the same time, we see this security system, like a POV shot of inside the camera, if you will, recognizing Riker. And then we see a hologram of Moriarty from that brilliant arc from Star Trek Next Generation. And I believe it's the same actor. He still looks fantastic, very Shakespearean performance, and I thought it was good. It was, and of course we see that Tribble trying to attack Worf. There's a Genesis device there, and obviously, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen that. There's a Captain T. Kirk, like kind of body scan or whatever it's called on it, and what's going on there. Picard's idea was taking the Titan to the Fleet Museum, where Geordi LaForge finally enters the show, and he's in charge of this facility. He's really not happy with the whole Titan team. LaForge beams aboard and brings one of his daughters with him, which is in fact played by his real life daughter, and his other daughter, who is the pilot on the Titan as well. So she's obviously meeting him as well in such a long time, and Picard and the rest of the team. And it's really heartwarming. I love when old characters are catching up like that. It was a really nice touch. And at the same time, you're thinking, LaForge hasn't seen Riker in so long, or hasn't seen hasn't seen this, or Warfare, whatever. It's just such nice feelings, like nice nostalgia stuff, and you're genuinely excited for when they see each other. Geordie's daughter, who just met, explains to kind of Picard and the rest of the guys and the audience really, that all the ships are now connected. So they're going to find out where the Titan is going. All the starships kind of communicate with each other somehow with some kind of frequency or something. So they're all in communication and know each other's whereabouts. And of course, that's how they were found by the two starships at Daystrom Station. So back on Daystrom Station, a series of musical notes is playing. Riker recognizes the tune and whistles the next few notes. It's a throwback to obviously Data's response when they first meet. They enter a room. Of course, Moriarty disappears. Salute you, sir. It was really fun to see you again. And then Moriarty disappears. Salute you, sir. It was really fun to see you again. And then they enter into a room with an elderly kind of Data. And this is cut to Geordi telling Picard that he really wants to help the guys, but the best case scenario is that he's facing a court-martial. And he's really concerned for his family. He's got 2 girls on board. Maybe some of the best stuff in the episode where Jack and Seven are looking at the kind of History Fleet Museum of starships. And we get a wonderful few scenes of clips, highlights, if you will, Easter eggs of just almost a catalogue of what's going on in Star Trek. And yes, it is fan service, but I absolutely love that. And it's a wonderful use of the ships. Kirk's Enterprise NCC 1701A. Of course, they play the themes at the time. I believe that's the last time, or the last time it was seen was in Star Trek 6, an Undiscovered Country. So, and it plays the correct themes accordingly. It's just so great. You're hoping to see something, and then they do, and then some stuff they don't see, but you get the musical themes, and it's so touching. These are things that it's just you respect. It's just you're watching in a museum, and you can hear being in Egypt. You see these historical significant things, and sometimes they have music in the museums, and of architectural things and temples and pyramids and stuff, and it just does make you feel very nostalgic. So I get why they're doing it, and I'm a sucker for that stuff. There's a USS Jersey. I don't remember that specifically, but I presume it's from the original series. That's the way it kind of looked. And a Klingon bird of prey, which was from obviously Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. And Jack is obviously pondering on the cloaking device. So it's not only fan service, it's also absolutely relevant and necessary to the plot, because they need a cloaking device to get around or get about on. Yeah, fantastic idea. So on Daystrom, we get the recording of, I think it's Altum Soon, the brother of Noonan Soon, and he's created an android from the core, before Data himself, etc., etc. And the theme of this episode is passing on your knowledge, passing on to whether it's the next generation, whether it's your children, obviously, and it's cutting to Geordi and Picard talking about their children as well, the good and the bad from us, and they also grow themselves. And obviously, we're looking at Data as they're saying it, and he's literally saying, "I've created this hybrid of a being." And also, even with the ships, we're taking the best bits and kind of moving on from there. And taking the best bits of Star Trek, whether it's Next Generation, original series, the ships, etc. It's just a part of life. It's just a part of growing. Yeah, I really got it. And giving the time for the newer characters as well, for Jack and for the LaForge daughters, and they're getting time. They're relevant to the plot. Their fathers obviously and mothers obviously relevant, the original series characters, but they are integral parts of the show. So I get it. I get the whole next generation, second generation, passing on, being mentors, because that's what they are now. You have your adventures yourself and help that generation move forward. And we cut to the Forge and his daughter who are arguing. She doesn't want to go back. She wants to help her new family. It's nice acting for both of them, really heartfelt. Geordie a few years ago would have dived headfirst to help the next generation team. Now he's a lot maturer, he's got a lot more at stake, but his daughter's kind of pleading with him to help. And, she believes that being like having his characteristics and having that sense of adventure is bringing her closer to him. Or she always thought that it brought him closer, the similarities in character. So yeah, I totally get it. It's extremely well written, and I just really, really, really liking the show. And at the same time, Jack and Sydney, which is LaForge's pilot daughter, is stealing the cloaking device from the bird of prey, and they attempt to install it on the Titan. Geordie's forced to help them. He's like, "What are you guys doing? We're cloaking it up for no reason." So whatever. He's now in the game, back on board because he's saving his daughters. He's got a lot more and saving his friends, and his whole career, including Starfleet, etc. So he's in the game. We've got Geordie LaForge. We've got Worf now. Raffi's on board. Well, let's see who else, and let's get Data. And we get a really surprising scene where we get Shaw, who's absolutely at a loss for words, meeting LaForge, and I thought it was so kind of sweet from him. Who's completely so abrupt and rude and disrespectful to Riker and Picard, and he was like a teenage kid meeting LaForge. I thought it was brilliant. So the Titan's now back at Data Station. Picard tells Riker that it will be cloaked. Riker explains how, and of course, it's due to superior Klingon technology, says Jedi Master Worf. And Riker takes it upon himself to try and buy time. Doesn't work, gets captured. And we cut to the Titan where Worf vows to Picard to get Riker back and swears to rescue. And then Jack now comes to Picard. They talk about his positive attributes, which he gets from his mother, but he also believes, yes, he may have got some kind of condition or disease from his father, but he's also got, which are way heavier than any disease, a lot more positive characteristics from his father, which are, his father's a hero in this universe, the flagship hero. So if you've got half of what he's got, you're going to be a legend yourself. And to end the episode, we get a 2.0 Data where he's reactivated from the Data station. He's stuck in a loop, keeps repeating, Jean-Luc Picard, Jean-Luc Picard. We establish what the changelings have taken is the human remains of Picard. Why have they needed that? I presume to morph into him or something, but I don't know. I mean, what is going on there? That was kind of not what I was expecting. A bit creepy, this series, and I quite like it. And to finally end the episode, we see Riker taking a beating as he does many times, and smiling the whole way through. But we see something familiar. He explains, "I'm not going to turn on my friends. What are you doing? This is pointless." And then we see Deanna Troi finally joining the team of the next generation, and it was great to see her back again. Oh, Will. So that's his weakness, and we'll see what's going to happen there. I genuinely can't see them topping this episode, and it was a lot from the plot development, the character development, the twists and turns, loads of fan service, loads of Easter eggs, loads of callbacks. Music was brilliant, and why did the changes want Picard? The human remains of Picard is mind-boggling. They've also now got the cloaking device from the Enterprise from Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, which will definitely come in handy again. I just have to say that what a brilliant episode it was. And I stayed to the end credits. And I wouldn't say I got choked up, but I did definitely, with watching the whole thing and it being, I don't care what anyone says, this is the Next Generation season 8 or whatever the last season was. And, hearing the music at the end, the Next Generation theme, and you just left to wonder, like, who else will be coming back? Or like they're not all being in one room yet. There were a lot of them were on the Titan. Obviously, Riker was off, and Deanna Troi wasn't there yet. But Data hasn't seen Riker, and And when he wakes up and sees Geordie, and then Geordie has tears in it, it's great. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I'm watching the show for. So anyway, it's been too long a review. I absolutely loved it. I'll end it with wonderful feelings that this show gives you that I just wish other stuff did. For me, just off the top of my head, I believe this and Cobra Kai really do it well. The respect that they have for, the original content or the original series, let's say, or movies or franchise or characters, as opposed to something like Star Wars, where we never got a scene with Han, Luke, and Leia. You can even chuck in Chewie and Lando as well in there, but how can them three not get to, it's just Marvel have gone way off now, and DC is struggling. Yeah, I just really love the way that the respect that they're doing the show. Put the original characters in the front and center and bring through the other characters like Jack and the LaForge daughters, etc. Put them front and center. I love how Picard is the main character in this series. Like, the episode starts with let's get Picard's most vulnerable, most, he is the warrior, he is the hero, he is the leader, he's the captain. And put them characters, and Geordie and Worf and Riker, they are who we're here to see. I'm not here to see the side characters. Obviously, they need to move the story forward to bring them on, but it just shows you how to do it well, and I really loved it. But anyway, that's been my review, longer than expected. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my holiday. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time on Off the Walk.